This is the Tuesday, November 23rd edition of Slow Home Studio.
My name is John Brown and this is Matthew North, and today we are going to be answering a question from Rory in Minneapolis about our Design Minute segments on entry.
So Rory wrote to us and said, I really like the front entry in your townhouse because it is so bright and open, and I have been looking to buy a townhouse for the past 6 months, and almost every one I've seen has the garage on the main floor and an entry that is too small and cramped. Can you talk about that kind of situation, please?
Yes, well, that's certainly common, isn't it? When we were doing the Slow Home review of the 4,700 projects across North America, we saw that in townhouses a lot.
Yeah, and your townhouse is different because you have a detached rear garage, so the parking issue is dealt with outside of the main structure of the house.
Exactly, and so that makes a big difference, because if you've got an 8-foot wide single car garage, 9 foot, 10 foot, and then you've got a double car garage of 16 feet, you find a lot of designers are trying very hard to just squeeze some kind of minimal stair and entry into that, and it can have a real impact on entries. And as you're saying, most townhouses actually have an attached garage condition, unlike mine.
Yeah, so that's probably why yours has got more daylighting and more space.
Well, if you design it properly, I mean, we have seen other good examples.
But it is, I have to say, because we're going to look at some examples, but the thing that is really interesting is the designer actually has to start with the idea of providing the space for the entry when they're doing the overall layout of the concept for the townhouses, right? Because if they just go with the minimum dimension, you're going to be in a pickle right away.
So let's look at some of those pickles. We'll start out with this is the problem. Yeah. Where you've got a garage, a single car garage, and then really just the minimum amount of width to be able to
just enough room for a door, maybe a few extra inches if you're lucky.
There's no closet. There's no place to turn around. You have to go outside to change your mind. You can't really do anything there. Here we've got the same situation, but in a double car garage. So we've got the width now for that, but it's just gotten bigger now, and there's also going to be these conflicts with
door swings. And then the other thing I have to say, they don't have 2 feet in the garage, so for clearance for the car. So to get that little bit of extra space, they've now bumped into the parking zone, and they don't have the 2 feet clearance on that one side. So that's tricky. That's a problem.
That's right. You're making this a problem, and you're actually making that a problem as well. So unless you've got a relatively small car that you could get up close here, you're not going to have enough parking space, and that's something good point. It's all these design decisions are linked together, and we need to make sure that you say, oh wow, here's somebody that's given us a great entry. Not that this is, but then it makes the garage
too small,
uninhabitable. And it's not just in these situations. Here we've got a front drive 2-car garage, and we've got the entry, and this has got living space at the back.
Yeah,
and even then it's a problem. So that we really just got this long hallway that takes us through, and we have to walk all the way back. There is still no closet. There is a bathroom there, which is a good thing to have, given that it's a living level, but really a minimal space. I'm also concerned because when you're looking at the front of this house, all you're really seeing is a door and a big garage, and then there's going to be another door, garage, all the way down the street.
Yeah, and there's going to be no daylight in that whole space. I mean, that's 50% of your unit length, right? There's going to be no light, no natural light in there at all.
No. What you see in a lot of situations is that the garage is on the main floor if there's an entry, and then most of the living space is on the second floor, which can actually be a good thing. But you do want to make sure that you don't have your closet and all of that, the sort of entry issues, up on the second floor, because it makes that walk up the stair a little bit nasty.
Yeah.
So here we're looking at a slightly better example.
Yeah, this one's better. I mean, this one's got, looks like it's about 5 feet, right? 5 by 5 or something, 5 by 4.
Yeah, and you can tell that because you've probably got a 3-foot stair, a 3-foot, maybe 3'6" stair, and then you've got a 2-foot closet. And
we hope
that's
it's
right,
2 feet.
2 feet. Yeah, well, let's assume that it's a 2-foot closet. So what's good about that is that means that this is between 5 and 5'6".
Yeah.
And my entry is about 6 foot.
That seems, as a rule of thumb, that's about the right size that you need in order to, have a couple people standing there without the door hitting them, being able to, take your coat off, have enough room to move around. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, this I would say would be, Rory, I would say this is the minimum that you should be looking for when you're coming at this. It's got a good sized closet. There's at least a decent kind of space, and then there's a bit of separation to the stair. You don't really want to have that stair right at the front entrance.
Yeah, I don't like it when the stair comes crashing down right at the front door. I mean, because it makes it awkward.
So this is a better version of that, even
Right.
one step more, so that it actually has the 3-foot stair there, puts the closet on the end, on the side,
Yeah.
so that now we've got a real entry.
Yeah.
That we can come in. We've actually got enough space for a window to let some natural light in.
Yeah.
Now this has got the garage at the back, and then there's a small living space there, but the principles
Yeah.
remain the same. This could just as easily have a front drive garage on that
Yeah.
side. So this is probably the best situation, and that's now probably looking at about 6 feet by 8 feet, I would say.
I do want to say the one thing that's interesting about this example, though, is they've notched this into the other unit, right?
Yes.
So the designer is actually, it's a little bit more sophisticated, because if you just have those straight party walls that go front to
That's
back, right? Then it's difficult to fit the garage in. But this way, they're kind of carving out of space, so you can imagine that these pieces lock together. And so this is a more sophisticated example.
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, not knowing this project, it's also possible that this unit is mirrored and that the other unit is
so
there.
it's not
and it
just
has
your
an entry
standard
on that
long
side.
party wall.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's a very good point, something to again look at when you see. So now, the second configuration is really about the stair. All of this is really about how the stair is. We've been looking at straight run stairs, which are about 3 feet wide. If we go to a return stair, which makes the stair half as long, it also gets twice as wide. So now we've got a 3-foot stair going up and a 3-foot stair that's going up the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And what that does is it sets a kind of minimum dimension now of about 6 feet.
Yeah, which is
good.
nice. That's good.
It's very nice. It also means that you're only going up half a flight, so that you can, if you can see with this situation, is you're actually coming in from grade, which is the garage, and going up half a flight of stairs to the foyer. So that means
Yeah.
that there's another half a flight of stairs up on the outside of the house, and then you're able to continue up. So
Yeah.
you don't have that straight, that rather daunting 10 or 11-foot straight run of stair
Yeah.
that goes all the way up. The problem with this is it doesn't really have, well, it does have a small closet. It's a closet at the back entry right here underneath that
Tucked
stair.
under.
Tucked
Yeah.
under the
So
stair.
there's going to be a bit of a headroom clearance issue. Like you're not going to get a full height.
No, it's
closet
not
in there.
ideal to
No.
have that. And this is getting, the success of this is really dependent on that dimension.
Yeah.
And this, I think, is the minimum that's acceptable. When we look at this one, this
The
is
door
really
is getting
not, right?
the door is getting too close to the stair.
That's right. The stair, this is only about 3 feet. It's the minimum. You're really coming into a stair landing.
Yeah, and that's a situation that we try to avoid if we can, because it really doesn't feel like an entry, and it also doesn't feel like a stair landing. It feels kind of like shared space. And
That's right.
It's awkward.
On the other side, I think that the back entry for this is quite nice, because now we've got this kind of space there. So we have a good way to come in. We've got a closet, the utility with the laundries off that back side. So this is actually a pretty nice space.
Yeah, it's not bad. I just wish they'd figured out the door swing with the garage door and the closet door. I don't like it when they bump into each other like that, because if someone is standing in front of the closet or the door is open, you're going to hit it with your other door. So
That's
wish
true.
they would have figured that out.
And all this needed to do was really move that stair down another couple of feet, and
Yeah.
it would have worked
Yeah.
without too much trouble. But it's very rare that you find a return stair in one of these tight width spaces that also has a closet in it, because you just, unless you can tuck it into the bottom of the stair somehow, which is difficult when
Yeah.
it's a double run stair, you generally find the closet in a remote location, which is exactly what you find over there. So you need to think about, Rory, as you're looking at this, is there a front entry condition that's more important than the back entry? Where is that closet in relationship to both doors? Because you're going to be using both doors at different times. So now we're looking at a slightly different situation, again, very common within townhouses, which is to actually have a living space adjacent to the entry. This is getting closer to my situation. So actually you could have, this is very, very similar actually, almost identical, except instead of coming through and going into the rest of the plan, you've got the garage behind you, but it's very similar in width. There's a study office in the front that leads out to a patio, which is kind of nice. And so this one is actually working quite well, and it shows you how you can have that garage space, two-car garage, and a living space, and an entry on the side.
Yeah.
And I think it's a pretty good entry. I mean,
Yeah, it seems like they've got the door swings figured out a bit better, and there is enough room to stand there and take your coat off. And I like the fact that the closet is shared from the front and the back.
yeah, this is a bit tight, perhaps, coming in there and walking down. That's the trade-off in this, and every design is going to be a trade-off of certain things. But here, the back of the house isn't quite as nice as the front in the entry, but it is good that they share that. And I have to say, I do like shared closets wherever it's possible.
Yeah.
Because that means that you don't have to be thinking about, well,
Where did I put my
front
shoes?
or in the back, or where did I put my shoes?
Yeah.
Exactly. And now here we've got, I think this is an even better example of that shared entry situation. Now the stair is coming up this way. We do have a small room at the front that's probably a den, a sitting room, something like that. We've got a good entry on both sides coming into an entry space that's a decent size. There's a little window for some light. It would be nice if there was a little bit more light, and we do have that closet.
Yeah, I have to say this is a better example than the last one, because if you're a guest and you're arriving at the house, in this one you're going to feel like you're arriving at the front door of the house. In the other example, I think you would feel like you're arriving in the mudroom.
Yes.
Because of that location of the back door and the way that it's detailed with that narrow stair, I think you'd feel like you're sort of always arriving into the mudroom.
I think that's a very, very good point, actually, and I think there's something, if you just look at the way in which this has been detailed, there's the stair that comes down with
It's an open rail.
step. It's an open rail. The stair turns so that you come in. The door swing opens this way so that as you're coming in, there's a way for you to stand, and then there's a kind of natural entrance up. So the stair, the entry space, and the two doors are connected together in a design that makes the whole more than the sum of the parts.
Yep.
Well, those are all of our examples. I hope that helps, Rory, with your searching. If you need more information, be sure and check out our book, What's Wrong with This House. It goes through each of the different rooms in a house, and we deal with entry quite extensively.
And tomorrow on the Design Minute, I'm going to be talking more about entry detailing at your house.
That's right. We're going to be talking about the front entry closet and the bench. I can hardly wait. See you then.
See you tomorrow.